Are you guys having a fun Comic-Con so far? It's pretty cool. So my name's Chuck. I'm a voice actor and I play in Star Trek Continues, and I do TV and film, and I write stuff, and I do lots of stuff. But a lot of what I do is go to Comic-Cons and meet people like you, which is my favorite part of my job. Oh, for those of you who don't know what Star Trek Continues is, it is a fan-funded, fan-made series starring myself as Dr. McCoy. Not starring, co-starring. Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can see it. We have Chris Doohan, son of James Doohan, the original Scotty, who plays our Scotty. Grant Imahara from Mythbusters plays our Sulu. Vic Mignogna plays Kirk. Todd Haberkorn plays Spock. Michelle Speck plays a new character called Dr. McKenna. We start where the original series left off and cover all the missions up to the very first movie.
Where Kirk left off?
Yeah. And people say when they, our episode 3 is a mirror universe episode. We go follow the other side of the episode. We have lots of guest stars. Lou Ferrigno, dressed as an Orion slave trader, all in green. Yeah.
Orion slave girl.
There's some slave girl action. You like it? Hot Orion slave girls. But people watch the show and they say after 2 or 3 minutes they forget they're not watching the original series because it is written, shot, acted, edited exactly like the original.
And it's okay. Star Trek basically said as long as you aren't making money off of it, you could make fan-made adaptations, and this is one of the most popular, Star Trek series or fan-made stuff that's out there. And it's totally free to consume because you guys...
That's right.
It's all volunteer?
Yeah, we all show up for free. They pay to bring us out there. They pay our way and give us a hotel and feed us Taco Bell, but other than that...
I love your costume. You should show it off to Chuck.
Yes, next gen.
Yeah.
Where do I find what you're talking about?
You could just go to YouTube. You could Google it on your phone. People are watching it already in the audience. So just Google Star Trek Continues, and you'll be able to watch it.
Hey, I mean, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, it's free. Just go watch it. It's amazing. You'll love it.
Thank you. I'm a way back to Star Trek.
I can tell. And she's dancing.
Who's your favorite captain?
Who's your favorite captain? Is it Picard?
It's not Janeway?
This far, no further. Whoa. Patrick Stewart in the house. I don't know.
So is that who you wanted to play, was McCoy, or did you have your eyes set on somebody else?
The funny thing is Vic was like, hey, come do my fan series. He sounds nothing like that. But I was like, fan series? I thought it was silly. But I said yes, because Vic's my friend. And then it ended up being hugely, worldwidely successful. And I was like, I'm sorry, I thought it was silly at the beginning.
What's your favorite thing about playing McCoy?
My favorite thing about playing McCoy is really being, because before we aired the episodes, we weren't sure how Star Trek fandom would take it. We were pretty sure, but you never know, because they could be like, we love everybody except McCoy. He's terrible. We hate him. And I'd be like, oh, I've ruined Star Trek. But they ended up loving me. So being embraced by the fandom, like across the world, I'll do like a convention in Dublin. And like old, guys my age, like coming up to the table, oh, you're Dr. McCoy. And I'm like, oh yeah, wow, you like me in Ireland? That's awesome. And then, so that's kind of an amazing thing to be part of that community. Accepted in that community in that way is kind of astonishing for my career. Never thought it would happen. If you had told me as a young actor in Chicago that you're going to be Dr. McCoy, I'd have been like, that's not possible. And then it happened.
I know that you and Vic are both voice actors. Is this, it's a different experience working as actual actors versus being voice actors?
Yeah. First of all the other voice actors in the world would be hurt that you said actual actors instead of voice actors. Then I'll be like, what are we doing? I thought we were acting. Yeah, I've been doing film work since I was 19, so it's something that most of us have done most of our careers, but the differences between them, which is really what you're asking, like voice acting is it's difficult. You have to do real acting, but you can dress like this. And they don't have to like hold traffic or have a helicopter shot coming in, which makes you nervous when they're like, okay, we're holding traffic on the highway. You just have to pick up the gun and shoot when the helicopter lands. And you're like, okay, I hope I don't screw it up. Whereas in the booth, it goes beep, 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 and where the fourth beep is, you start talking. And if you screw it up, they go, oh, okay, do that again. You know, it's a little bit less pressure. Although there's more pressure now that it's becoming more and more popular.
So how does a project like this get funded start to finish?
Mostly through car wash fundraisers. No, we did a Kickstarter, and then I think we finished off the last episodes with a GoFundMe. We had some really big, impressive donors come in and help make sure we were able to finish. Some of them so impressive we're not allowed to say their names in public. Because they would get in trouble for supporting us that greatly. I can't do it. Vic will get mad at me. And I can't have him being angry with me.
Okay, so in your entire voice acting career, what's your favorite character that you had to voice act?
Probably Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. I never went to a Comic-Con or a convention before Hiei, and I was up at Funimation, and they were like, oh, hey Chuck, we're gonna bring you to a con. And I was like, that's awesome, what's a con? And they're like, it's a place where people cosplay. I'm like, use English words. And I'm like, well, what am I gonna do at this con, this convention? I pass out flyers, like, watch Yu Yu Hakusho, it's a great show. And they're like, no, Chuck, you're gonna be signing autographs. And I was like, oh, you're stupid. They're like, no, Chuck, you're stupid. And I was like, I don't think you know how this business works. Because I've been in the business for like 10 years at that point. And I've been in movies, I'd acted with movie stars. Nobody ever asked for my autograph. I didn't realize anime was as popular as it was. Because back in my day, when we watched anime, we had to do it in secret and not tell anyone. Or we got beat up. You like Japanese cartoons? Ow, let's go play D&D. But now that it's super popular, so I went to meet fans. The first fans I met were Hiei fans, so he's my favorite for that reason. See, and I got up to the table and there was nobody there, and I was like, see, there's nobody here to sign autographs. You were stupid. I should have brought some flyers to pass out. And they were like, no, Chuck, that's your line for autographs. They're all... And so then I signed autographs for like 4 hours straight. And I went from never signing an autograph in my life to signing for 4 hours straight for Yu Yu Hakusho fans who were crazy. The first person came up, she was like, you're gonna laugh! And I was like, ah! And, you know, you had to just kind of figure out how to sign autographs after that. I have to say, Star Trek fans are a little bit more reserved than the anime fans. Star Trek fans are a little more mature. Not that I mind either, but it's nice having the blend of them.
Yeah, I heard those girls squeal so loud my eardrum ruptured because of anime, not because of Star Trek.
I know.
Yeah.
Star Trek fans go, I'm intelligently pleased.
Not all of us are like that.
No, it's true, it's true.
So,
oh my God, Dr. McCoy! There are some women that do that.
for the new shows coming up in Funimation, what are you hoping to become part of?
All of them.
All of them?
I don't know, what are the new shows? I don't pay attention. I have 7 children. Mostly what I do is make ramen. Ramen and toaster waffles.
Are you hoping to go back to work for Funimation, or are you still with them?
Oh, I'm up there every week. Doing something. I did Kurogiri and My Hero Academia. It was literally the last thing I just recorded last week. Kurogiri. I like him. He's got a deep voice.
They don't let me use my deep voice very often.
Do you ever...
I wish they would more.
I like it.
Now let's think of heavy doing this.
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, what's your favorite Dr. McCoy scene or scene?
My favorite Dr. McCoy's episode 5, Divided We Stand, is the Civil War episode. And, spoiler. Anyway, that one's my favorite. We got to do some really, really cool stuff in that. So go watch it. But just in general, when I was in sick bay and something awesome was happening in sick bay, doing that series, the whole series was, different events that would blow your mind. Like the very first vignettes we filmed, there was the final shot. We all come out, Spock, Kirk, and I come out of the turbo lift onto the bridge, and everybody's on the bridge, and this is the first time we're shooting on the bridge. And we all come out and go to our stations, and Vic's directed us where to go. We stand there and they call cut, and I think every one of us on the bridge just went, we were on the bridge! And we all just started nerding out and acting totally like super geeky. So, I'd say just this last episode that premiered, for the first time I got to flip open a communicator, and I did it on set. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But then once they added the sound effect, and I saw the premiere last week, and it went, geek, I was like, I did it! Like the first time you beam down, or the first time you anything, first time the door goes, you're like, first time I pull out a phaser is awesome. First time I use a tricorder, all of it. It's just a bunch of Star Trek virgin firsts.
Did you get to watch them build the sets? Did you get to come in like on the ground floor while they were?
Funny, little known story. When Vic first started, when he first started having the idea, he had mentioned he wanted me to play McCoy, but he knew I was in construction. I'd previously been a project manager and a superintendent, and he's like, if I gave you the original plans to the Star Trek sets, could you build them? And I was like, yeah, I could do that. He's like, here. And I'm like, okay. He goes, tell me how much it will cost in materials. I'm like, we figured it out. We started building the sets originally up in Oklahoma, and then I drove them in a truck to Georgia, where we joined forces with another Star Trek crew and then built everything. You can walk through the sets, you walk through the hallway, it's like walking through a museum. It's kind of amazing.
When you're on set with your friends and your co-actors, who has the biggest difference between their personalities of their character versus who they really are?
Probably Todd Habercorn. He is not very logical, not very Spock-like. He's kind of just a goofball for sure.
Who's your favorite to be on set with?
Oh, all of them. That's the thing. Like when we started filming the vignettes, and Vic told me Grant Imahara was gonna play Sulu, and I was a big Mythbusters fan. And like, there's the craft service table, and you're on set for the first time. This always happens with actors in movies. Someone's at the craft service, and you're like, I need water. Yeah, just getting some water. Hey, what was it like building R2-D2? And you kind of flip out on him a little bit, which I did.
Do you have any stories that you could share with us?
What other stories? I don't know. Todd, one time we were filming a Mirror Universe episode, had a fake goatee on, and we could glue it on, but if he laughed, it would fall off. So the big joke on set was to try to make him laugh, because he would have to laugh like this. So it was all about trying to make funny jokes and make him laugh and ruin his goatee. The makeup department, hair and makeup hated us. Like, stop it! We don't want to stick his face back on.
They get paid by the hour? I'm sure they were okay with it.
They do not get paid by the hour.
Oh, volunteer! Oh, I forgot.
There's not a lot of being paid on that set.
So when you're voice acting, you probably get to have a script in front of you. You know, what's it like having to memorize all the lines you have to, read on camera?
I'm pretty good at memorizing stuff. It's one of my skills. I usually don't memorize until I get on set, because you never know what lines are going to change, and I never want to be fully memorized and then have to be like, I have to unmemorize it.
Who has the most trouble, you think, keeping track of their lines?
I don't know. Vic, because he directs a lot of the episodes and he executive produces it, a lot of times he'll be, the last thing he starts to pay attention to is his own sort of scenes that he's doing. So sometimes he will have big chunks, and of course he's Kirk, so he's got big chunks of dialogue. So sometimes he will get in a position where he's like, oh, crap, I haven't looked at my lines. And then we get on set. But I wouldn't say that's him being forgetful. It's more like just him doing tons of jobs.
When you meet crew member number 7 and he's cast, he's going to be going, Captain, there's something, ah! Do you guys all try not to make friends with him because you know he's going to be awesome?
Yeah, we're like, He's like putting in his order for lunch. We're like, you're not gonna need that. You can put in the order, but we'll be eating it. Poor red shirts.
Who's your favorite Star Trek character, like, in general?
In general, you know, I watched reruns when I was a little kid of the original series, and I remember it was on Sundays at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It always seemed to be that like my dad would finish having us help him with yard work, and then he would be covered in grass clippings and lay in his big chair, and we'd all watch Star Trek. I was a little too young at the time to really get it, but then when Next Generation came along, I became a Next Generation fan. And my favorite character in Next Gen was Q, played by John Delancey, who in this last episode, episode 9, our guest star was John Delancey. So we had John Delancey guest starring on Star Trek, not playing Q, but which I thought would have been awesome to bring Q in all the way back there, a way to tie the two series together. But we'll do that in my next fan series. But getting to act with John Delancey was really sort of a treat.